It was the Russians' turn to go on the attack at the United Nations on Friday, blaming the United States for the breakdown in Syria's ceasefire, both in formal remarks to the UN General Assembly and to the press.
We cannot just close our eyes when one group of the Syrian representatives sabotages the decision of the Security Council.
He said the U.S. was too quick in holding Russia responsible for the attack on the UN aid convoy earlier in the week and suggested opposition groups could be responsible. He called for an investigation and for the U.S. to do more to stop al-Qaeda-linked fighters, formerly known as the Nusra Front, whom he accused of hiding behind legitimate opposition groups and firing on government forces.
Any special measures which go beyond the document of 9th of September are senseless if we don't start separation. We are convinced that it is not going to take long if intelligence is put on the table and the map is agreed with locations of Nusra.
The U.S. has argued that aid deliveries to suffering Syrians were the first stage of the ceasefire agreement and now can't be achieved without a grounding of Syrian and Russian air flights.
They're trying to ensure that Bashar al-Assad's planes don't leave the ground for the next week and want a genuine cessation of hostilities. That's what we've been discussing. There was a confrontation between John Kerry and Mr. Lavrov during the meeting. The Americans and Russians, as co-chairs of the group, have a particular responsibility in this area.
As the world powers point fingers, the country has returned to open conflict, according to the UN Special Envoy for Syria.
I've been now with the UN 46 years, 19 wars, including Afghanistan and Iraq, and the Balkans, which were complicated enough. I've never seen so many players having so many different agendas like in this conflict.
When asked what would happen if the talks collapsed, Lavrov responded that there was no plan B. The United States and Russia agree on one thing: there can be no military solution for the conflict in Syria. But as long as a political one remains elusive, it appears the bombs will continue to fall on its people. Kristen, Saloomey, Al Jazeera, the United Nations.